Welcome, everyone. This is John Walicki, and we are live today. Thank you for joining on Crowdcast and IBM Developer TV. We are going to first do a couple of logistics and housekeeping things and then get right to the topic. I've got so much material to cover. First, if you're new to Crowdcast, over in the sidebar, you can ask questions. I'm following the chat. Love to engage with you, answer your questions. Tell me where you're from. And if you're a weather nerd like I am, we're going to have a good time today. We want you to join the Call for Code Honoring Everyday Heroes Spot Challenge. And that means in the link below me is a button that will take you to the registration details. So do smash that button and get started. So let's get started. Let's just jump right into the topic because I'm going to talk for 60 minutes about the weather. All right, let's share my screen. And hopefully you see that. I don't know if you see that yet. There we go. Great. So why are we here? We're here to talk about the Call for Code Honoring Everyday Heroes Challenge. And if you're just joining us and have heard about the challenge, let's do a quick review of what it's all about. So number one, there's a registration link, and that takes you to get yourself an IBM Cloud account. And you can also learn how to get yourself a Samsung developer account. But why do we think this is important? So if you've learned about Call for Code before, you know that tech for good and using your skills as a developer to go make a big difference is so important. We know that during the pandemic, everyday citizens around us in our communities really stepped up, right? Whether it was the delivery person or a medical professional or your volunteer group in your community, they did some amazing work to keep us all functioning and sane over the last 18 months. And so this challenge is about building solutions, technology solutions that can help them. And so do join us. And that's sort of why we really encourage you to join the Spot Challenge. Now, we know that you all are busy, but we want to encourage you. So we do have some prizes. So $15,000 to the winning team. That's pretty awesome. But you also do get from Samsung for each member of the winning team a Galaxy Z Fold 3. Now, I'm not eligible to win. I keep asking for this device, and I go to the store. I kind of look at it. I'm like, oh man, I would love to get one. I can't. I'm not eligible, but you are, and so we do encourage you to build a solution over the next couple of days. Time frame, sort of we're halfway through, right? So it ran from the launch on October 26th, and we closed the submissions on November 20th. I think at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. We do have a number of streams to help you get started. We've got replays as well. So if you missed a prior event, you come back and follow these links and you can watch the replay. We kicked off the event October 2nd. Daniel and the Samsung team and I did a stream last Thursday. We talked about IBM Cloud and some of the APIs that you could use in IBM Cloud to go build your solution. And then on Tuesday, the Samsung developer team, Eric and Julia and Rodrigo, just did an awesome job of telling us about the Samsung developer APIs and Knox APIs that you can build using your solutions. Now I'm here today to talk about the weather company. We're going to get right to it. And then next week, we've got a couple of streams about asking questions and also how to build your solution and your submission and hopefully win the following weeks. We will announce the winners in December, so do tune in for that. And all right, so let's get started. That is the important part of the challenge itself. If you have not seen me stream before, my name is John Walicki. I'm an IBM developer advocate. My sort of expertise is in IoT and edge and AI, cloud native. I love to teach developers about technology solutions and help you build with IBM technologies. Long time IBM researcher and developer. I've got tons of examples, and we're going to do that. So if you've not yet followed me, do find my Twitter handle in the stream above. All right, I see a couple of folks are joining from Canada. That's great. California, hello, Upcar. I see snow, man. We are not ready for snow. It's fall in the East Coast. In New Jersey, so it's certainly okay. But if you're a summertime person or a springtime person, other than football, the fall and the winter can just go away. Oh man, it's dark in the UK already. Sorry about that. All right, well, let's get started. So now that you know who I am, we want you to join the Call for Code Awards Gala next week on Tuesday. We are assembling the winners or the finalists in New York City. We're going to be streaming it live, so you can join in. And what we're going to do is we're going to announce the Global Challenge winner. So $200,000, the chance to work with IBM and the Linux Foundation and our partners to go and take the winning solutions to make them open source projects and then deploy them into to help people. So do tune in on Tuesday night. We've got a live stream YouTube link here that you can go and find your way there. We'll drop that in the stream as well. But so today, let's talk about what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about the Weather Company APIs. So those of you, hopefully you tune into the Weather Company. Maybe it's on your phone. You've got the app. Maybe and I know Samsung, in their default set of settings, they've got a weather API, a weather app, and underneath that app is calls over to the Weather Company. And so when you use your Samsung device, you're actually using the Weather Company APIs to get the forecast. If you didn't know that, we sort of hide underneath the covers there, but that's totally fine. You might install the Weather Company app itself. You might watch it on the news, and very often it's the Weather Company APIs, because we've got some deep analytics doing forecast modeling on all sorts of weather, thousands, millions of endpoints all around the world, including my rooftop. I've got a weather station on my roof, and it's sending the weather data from Ridgewood, New Jersey, to the Weather Company to improve their models. We know, so why is this relevant to the challenge today, honoring everyday heroes? Because if you're building a solution, you might want to, warn someone about lightning strikes or severe weather coming their way, or tornadoes. These are all, flooding was a big problem throughout the Northeast with nor'easters, and the Midwest. Certainly wildfires, all of that leads to, extreme drought conditions. You want to be able to capture that information and then provide that possibly in your solution to these end users, the everyday heroes. And so we think, and I believe, that the weather APIs can really be helpful in making your solution shine in the next couple of days. All right, so what we're going to talk about is the APIs themselves, how to get access to an API key, the documentation. I'll guide you to that. And then I'm going to show you some examples. We're actually going to jump into and poke at the API itself. We'll run some sample code. And then I've got a whole ton of examples up in my Git repositories, and we're going to narrate a few of those, okay? All right, let's get started. We have just one last commercial. So if you've not yet navigated over to the GitHub Call for Code Spot Challenge, do find more details there. It's got submission details, et cetera, et cetera. I'll come back to this sort of at the end. I wrote a blog post at the beginning of the Call for Code 2021 challenge, and I'm going to narrate this for a while because I've got loads of details in this particular blog post. Let's drop that into the chat here so you guys can follow along. I see that my host has dropped the award link there. That's great. All right, so I'm on this blog post, and let's go narrate here a couple of things that I want to point you to. So obviously the call for code challenge itself, why it's important, why we think the weather company is relevant to this particular challenge. In the case of climate change, obviously very important. Well, I described why we think it might be relevant to you as in your spot challenge solution. So when you sign up for the weather company API key, you get access to a whole variety of a suite of APIs, and I'm going to sort of talk you through them. Way more here than I can narrate in an hour. Although I've experimented with most of them, it's, as a developer, it's like me in a candy store. Give me an API and a Swagger doc, and we're going to go to town. But you do have access to a couple of different packages here. So the core weather APIs, these are sort of the current conditions, your short-term forecasts, radar, satellite data. I've actually did my own little radar maps. It's sort of fun as well. So if you're interested in building a dashboard with radar maps, I'll show you how to do that in the first package. And then we've got a whole set of extended and current conditions forecasts. These use personal weather stations. You can get forecasts out to the 15-day. If everyone's worried about driving on Thanksgiving, sort of, what's in the time frame? So we can sort of start to plan the Thanksgiving traffic jams with the weather. So you can use the 15-day extended enhanced forecasts, okay? And then I think also for your solutions, you might be interested in the extreme weather and the severe weather forecast APIs, and we'll dig into those, okay? So that's sort of the overview. I'm actually going to take you to some of the Swagger docs in just a minute. So the first thing you need to do is go and apply for an API key. So follow that link, jumps you over. So now you have to log in to get, because when we give you a key, we don't know who you are. That'll take you over to this particular registration site. And, you read through it. I do encourage everyone to read the terms and conditions, because you can't use this, for military solutions. And, depending on where you are on the planet, there's restrictions and government regulations. So do read the terms and conditions and check the box, and then, click on request a key, and it'll give you the API key right in a dialog box there. All right, so now that you've got yourself an API key, what can we do with it? Let's go read the API docs, because, as a developer, that's what you do. You read the API docs, you figure out how it works, you poke at it, you kind of send it the string, and you get back a JSON object, and now you're parsing the JSON object. I'm going to show you that in just a few minutes. Matter of fact, let's go look in a few of them, and then we're going to actually go do the nowcast in a moment. So you're going to jump over to the API key docs, and so they're here. I've got a few of them that are interesting. So there's more to the weather company. So if you're a customer of the weather company API, so maybe you're an airline or a logistics company, a trucking company, a stadium, an arena, you want to know about the weather in your area, you can come and sign up for a sort of a enterprise contract. We don't, and some of them are not available entitled for your free key. You're going to get access to the ones I talked about. I think we're the first 5 here, minus the lifestyle index one. Well, we have some others that are pretty powerful as well. I've played with them. They're really cool. Like this one's got the frizzy hair index. Now I've got no hair, but my girls all have, beautiful red hair. And so they worry about frizzy hair days. Someday I'm going to be out on a golf course. There's a golf API. There's a flu index. There's a mosquito index. And so there's all sorts of really interesting things you might find in that one. Anyway, so you can go follow some of these links, and I did that. I'm going to drill down to the enhanced forecast one, because I do care about the 15-minute and the nowcast. And I'm going to go and play with some of these APIs here. So I jumped in to that doc, and now finally it leads me to a a particular page that shows me how to call this particular API. And so the nowcast says you give it either your location, a zip code, or your geocode, so longitude, latitude, wherever you are on the planet. And then you can specify what language you want the response to come back in. You can ask for it in metric or English. I see our UK folks are going to be laughing at us because everywhere else in the world, they ask for metric. And unfortunately, here in the US, we're still on some archaic legacy unit system. And then the API key that you just got from our real registration site. All right, let's go give that a try. And that's also included in my little blog post here. I give you a curl command. So I'm going to put that in my buffer, and I got it actually all set up here in my terminal. And so what are we going to do? We're going to go and make a call to that weather API. I'm going to pass it my zip code here in New Jersey, and I'm going to ask for the nowcast, which is sort of the tell me what the weather is in New Jersey, in my town right now. And then I have my weather key. I put it as an environment variable so I don't leak it on the stream. And let's go get ourselves a JSON object. All right, so we got some JSON back. I can't read that. So let's go pipe that to JQ. All right, so cool. So now I'm looking at something I can parse here. I got some metadata, and it's telling me where it is. And I've got some narratives here, so I can actually do something with that. I could put it in my app, and it's going to be mostly cloudy. It's in the mid 50s. The wind is pretty light. And, they've got looks like the 512 characters, the 256 characters, the 128 character, and then, sort of the summary type of thing. Well, that's kind of cool. All right. So now, that was just in a terminal, and none of us write apps other than, it's great to play with curl. You have to build an app. So I jumped over to Node-RED. And so many of you might take that API string and put it into Postman. That's certainly, I do that a ton. But when I start to build an app, I often will jump over to Node-RED, drag and drop. There's an HTTP request node, and I build myself a little set of test harnesses. So that's what I did here. Let's make that a little bit bigger for you so you can see. I'll make it bigger so that you all can focus in. Let's do a plus here. All right, so what are we doing? Maybe I went too much here. So there, that's what I wanted. All right, so Node-RED, you've got yourself a palette of nodes over on the left. You've got yourself a set of sidebars for debug and documentation and dashboards and context. And in the middle, you have a canvas and a flow. They're called a flow with Node-RED. And you drag your nodes from the canvas, from your, and then you wire it together, right? And so I did that this morning. I set my API key, I got it, and I just dropped it into an environment variable here. And I'm going to grab an inject node and a debug node, are the green ones. And then I set my key. And this one happens to be an HTTP request node. So I went and grabbed one of these. And not surprising. So let's do the nowcast because I did that example here. Exactly the same. So API, weather, my zip code, forecast, nowcast, English, with and then my API key. All right, so that's kind of fun. Let's go clear the sidebar here and say deploy. And I get back a JSON object, just like I showed you in my terminal. And I can go and, I've got the short-term forecast, and remember those narratives. So here they are. And now I can go and grab this particular, if I do a copy, not so much to copy the value, but copy the path, then it tells me where in the JSON object, because I have to parse, blah, 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 down into the JSON object, and I can go grab that. So that was kind of neat. And I did the same thing. Remember the 15-minute forecast? Because that one was also interesting. So the nowcast just gives me the narrative. I actually want to know the temperature and the humidity and the dew point and all the stuff about, this particular location. And that was the next one. So that was the 15-minute forecast. So let's go and poke at that. See what I get back. So this time I get back some metadata. Okay. Longitude, latitude, right? And I get back, looks like an array of forecast models. Let's just make this a little bit bigger so we all can parse it together. So the first one, it tells me some timestamps. That's nice. The temperature, the dew point, and then mostly cloudy. And so this one is sort of the first, what else do I see? Wind and clouds, precipitation, snow. Thankfully, no snow yet. And then the next one is, the 15 minutes. So it's the next 15-minute interval. So this one is 12:45. I think I just looked at this was the 12:30. Yeah, so it looks like it's giving me 15-minute increments along the way. All right, well, I could go and parse that and put that into a dashboard, right? Okay, I did that. Maybe it looks like this. So magic of the, prep for demos. I wrote this little personal weather station forecast dashboard. And so I've got one on my roof, and you zoom in. Whoa, sorry, I zoomed too fast here. So there I am, like I said, Ridgewood, New Jersey. You can zoom all the way into my house backyard, and you can go pick a day, and then you get your today's forecast, right? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I've got some historical data of what's, what happened. Oh, it was nice yesterday. That was awesome. Not as warm today. And then details about my all the wind and so forth. So that was kind of cool. I can go and refresh that chart if I want. I could go pick a day in the past. So to get, what the temperature was a couple of days ago. And, it was kind of cold. That was the average temperature a week ago, right? Was kind of cool. So I built myself a dashboard. That's somewhat interesting. And I've got some examples of that. Actually, I did an example. This particular example is available in IBM Developer. So if you jump up to IBM Developer and you search for, I think I called it hyperlocal weather, you'll be able to find how I built this example. And it was essentially a whole set of Node-RED flows. I think I've got it, sort of here in my little examples. The next one I'm going to show you, though, is the weather, severe weather, because it's nice to know, hyperlocal weather in John's backyard. It's more interesting to know whether there's, I went too big on this one. Maybe I need to send an alert to my community because there's flooding or tornadoes or severe thunderstorms. And so there's an API over in our, let's jump over here before I get to, sort of the end result. Let's go walk you through that. So there is a severe weather API. And let's go open that link up. And let's go take a look at what it gives me. This one gives me alerts. It gives me, so I could go and query alerts. We're going to go there first. Tropical, so these are tropical storms, so hurricanes. That's the typical hurricane, what the path is. You could build a chart if you want to. It's got lightning strikes. This one's pretty powerful too, so you can kind of build a little lightning strike thing. And I think shear matters for airports less if you're flying a drone. Rain, obviously important if you're going to do an event in your neighborhood, in your community. You want to know if the weather is going to be good. And that's actually pretty important. I've got a couple of examples. Hail vision, that sort of sounds like a Marvel API. We should check that out someday. Anyway, so I went and grabbed this one, and I started to poke around. Let's go open this link. And I grabbed this API, and I used my same API key. And all right, storm reports, blah, blah, blah. I know how, and I went and read through all the things that it brings back. I get it. All right, now I have to pass it different things. So I built one. This was cool. So there we go. Weather, I did alert headlines. And so what was interesting about this one, you could ask for like it gives you the first 200, but if there's more alerts, like when there's tons of flooding all throughout the southeast or nor'easter, all up the eastern seaboard, you wind up getting more than 200. So you have to kind of loop and ask for it again. So good APIs, as they scale, you sort of want to throttle how much information you have to parse all at once. And so we know that the weather company is, enormous. They handle like billions and billions of calls, API calls every day from apps and the weather folks. And I think when there's hurricanes, they like peak out at like several billion every day. On average, it's, pretty good, but on severe weather days, they really get crushed. But they've totally built a scalable solution running on top of IBM Cloud. All right, so you wind up getting a whole set of alerts. That's sort of the middle section here, and I kind of loop around until either I have a wrong API key or I finish out. And then I build a little chart and a table, and I put some stuff on a map. That's what we do on the bottom of this little Node-RED flow. And I used a set of dashboard nodes here. There's some dashboard nodes that I'm going to take advantage of the table and the headlines and the world map. That's that one there. So I'm going to go grab these, and I can figure out how to drop pins. That little function node there drops pins on a map. It looks like this. So we can, I don't know how to clear. Let's just, we can filter on, pick, I think there was a lot of storms right now in the Midwest. So let's go pick Illinois. And so there you go. So there's river flooding in Illinois, sort of in this middle of the country here. And then there's one alert flooding over in New York. And then I can filter on different alert, whether it's minor or major or extreme weather types of events. And I, can go hit refresh, and that's sorry to make you dizzy for a second, but it gave me the API looped through a couple of hundred high weather alerts. Look like there's a lot of wind in the upper Midwest there. And I don't know what's going on in Puerto Rico. Looks like they're getting hit by some storms. We can go click on the button here, and it's going to tell me storm watch. So there must be some tropical storm. It would be nice to be warm down in Puerto Rico. All right, so that is the extreme weather, and you could, of course, zoom in, and you don't have to, ask for the whole country. You could ask for, just a particular part of, wherever you are. It looks like Ithaca is having some flooding problems. All right, so that is the extreme weather API, and I have, so now this might be interesting to you. So I have up in my Git repository, I'll drop this into the chat here too. It's way more than I know, but I've got 4 that I think might be relevant. I've been building examples with Node-RED and the weather company APIs for a while now. So I've got one for the radar map. I'm going to show you that one, and the logistics. I think this one's going to be really good for the Samsung challenge. And then the severe weather map. So if you want to go jump in, that example I just showed you, I've got the flow sort of posted. You just paste it into your Node-RED, paste in your API key, and essentially you've got yourself your severe weather dashboard. Maybe send alerts, tie it to Twilio, send a text to your mobile device, because we want you to build with IBM APIs and use your phone. So maybe you're sending text messages. Maybe you're building a chat bot. Hey, what's the weather where I am right now? And it can figure out where you are. You hit the API key, text you back a solution. So a combination of use your mobile phone with an SMS interface, with a chat bot, with Twilio might be a cool idea, right? We could build that, take an hour or two. All right, so that's sort of the examples, that one. I built some Node-RED flows, some actually Node-RED nodes that might be of interest to folks. And so if you could go and grab the Node-RED contrib TWC weather, drop in your API key, sort of looks like, if you go to flows and search for it, it's probably the best way, TWC. Yeah, so the TWC weather one, this is sort of clever. This one is sort of outdated because we didn't give you access to the COVID-19 API metrics this year. And my dashboard's also posted here. So I posted a few. What that does is it drops additional nodes into your palette. And let's go show you those. It adds into your palette. Sorry to make you dizzy as I scroll. Oh, there's no easy way to search. Well, there is. I'll just search. There we go. So yeah, so go grab a few of these, drag it in, nowcast, forecast, et cetera, et cetera. You go build yourself a set of, and build yourself a solution. All right, so now that we know that we can do that with a few of the APIs, what might you also build? And so I just went down this journey. I'm going to show you the next one, and I have that in a separate project. So let's just jump over to a different project. Yeah, just throw away whatever I had changes there. I'm going to jump down to two other examples. The logistics one. Actually, no, I'm going to do the radar map because the logistics one, let's go here. Open this project. All right, so this was also a dashboard. And this one I was playing with the tiles because you might want to use some of the APIs. Remember, in our weather company APIs, we have access to the weather imagery and the tiles. So I wanted to learn how to build myself a tile. And that's what this example kind of shows. So I use a number of APIs, and what you get back from the API is a bitmap. Like you tell it what resolution, okay, and then you get, if you wanted to do, stitch multiple of them together, you get back all these bitmaps. And so I had to build myself a map. So it looks like this. Fingers crossed. I didn't test this one. Undefined reading radar map. Yeah. What did I do wrong? I should have tested this one before I got here. Cannot read properties of undefined reading sat radar. Oh, this is a dashboard. All right, let's actually launch the dashboard because that might actually tell me something. It might be broken. All right, I might not have my API keys here. Correct. So essentially what I did is I stitched together the different radar map and the weather map and UV or wind or feels like, and I overlay the radar map with a thing, and obviously I broke it. Oh man, I hate when things break. I don't want to debug with you guys. I obviously have some API key that's busted out here. I might have it running in the cloud. We'll get you there. We'll get you there. Don't worry, Tommy. I've got this one in the cloud as well. Let's go show you, because that's my next example that I have in my Git repository. Where's my Git repository? So the weather routing logistics. So imagine you've got yourself a you're in your local community, and a community, there's always a call, especially Thanksgiving, right? My church runs a turkey drive for the food shelter, and so the youth ministry coordinator sent out a request yesterday. Hey, they need drivers to deliver the turkeys on Saturday from the church over to the food shelter, and can you come help? Well, wouldn't it be a cool little app if we could sign up people and then tell them what the weather conditions are, and they've got a bunch of the youths, my daughters and so forth, they go up to the church, and people come and they drop off their turkeys, they put them in a freezer truck, and they deliver them to the community. So we could build an app for that, right? Help folks kind of not worry about the weather. And so that was what this logistics routing was. And this one I sort of a mashup, because I used the Here APIs. Let's go make this a little bit bigger. Here is a similar to Mapbox and Google Maps. Here gives me the ability to call some routing, and I built myself a dashboard, and I overlay the radar map from the weather company, and then I can have it talk to me because I tied it to the Watson's text to speech, and I kind of narrate the driving instructions on turn left, turn right, et cetera, et cetera. Let's go see this live. So this one is not running local on my cloud, on my laptop. I went and deployed this. So if you don't yet have yourself an IBM Cloud account, I have one. Well, go get yourself one. I've got one. And I jumped over to the dashboard in IBM Cloud, and I went down to Code Engine. And so I can build a container, which I sort of have on my local laptop. I built that Node-RED flow, and I have a container, which I think I give you in my Git repository, a Docker file, and a make file, and I go and compile. I build that container, I upload it to IBM Container Registry Service, and then I go over to Code Engine, and I've got myself a set of projects. Let's go drill in here. I think I've got a number of apps. So I've got a couple of apps running. And so this one I started before just to make sure it works. And so this one, we're going to launch this other one, Tommy. Remember, let's see if it works in the cloud. It didn't work local. I don't think I have my API key set local correctly. But let's go see the one that I just started up. And I hit the open API here. So this one, I sort of built that a while ago, a couple of weeks ago, maybe. I could go click into it. I do have the link open. So if you're in Code Engine, you can start and stop these your containers. And you can see, I can scale it up. So 4 months ago, I built older ones. All right, let's go see it run. I think it's running here. So this is not on my laptop. This is running somewhere in the cloud, if you notice my URL here. And again, it's a Node-RED flow. It's got some Here APIs, and I calculate a route, and I do some navigation, and I call the speech to text over here. All right, let's go check this out. All right, so now there's no weather currently in New York that matters, but in the Midwest, there's some. Let's go drive from Detroit to Minneapolis, because there's all sorts of crazy weather that way. So we're going to go get the route. Now let's go zoom out here, because I dropped a little truck. All right, so what I'm going to do is remember I have this navigation preview turned on, and I just have this navigation, so it's in my ear. So I'm going to turn that off so that you can hear through my boom speaker over here. So let's go and jump over to my regular computer outputs. And I'm going to take this out of my ear, and we're just going to say preview.
Turn right onto Cass Avenue. Go for 356 meters.
All right, and so what I can do is I can click through.
Turn left onto
right? So it's reading every one of these instructions. And so let's go turn that off. I'll zoom forward here a whole bunch of times so I don't have to listen to all of them. So here we go. And I'll go turn it on again because we're almost to Minneapolis.
Continue on I-94 watts toward Eau Claire. On I-94.
I was too fast.
39.6 kilometers.
And so what I essentially did is, if there's this big weather storm and I've got to drive through it in a truck or through it with a person, this is good to know. And so it's sort of a fun little mashup of the weather company API, Watson APIs, and a dashboard that I built in the cloud and Node-RED. And I've got that example in my Git repository here. Yeah, that's a cool combo, don't you think? I liked it too. I thought it was kind of clever. It just so happened when I happened to write this, there was I was driving from New Jersey to Long Island, and there was like a big thunderstorms right over my head. So I took that screenshot that day. But similar, there's big screenshot problems with, that's a fun screenshot too, if anyone wants to capture it. All right, so that was an example. Now there was one example which I wanted to prove to you. Let's go start this one. Now this is kind of iffy here. So the weather map one, let's go launch the URL. Now it's not going to run until there's hits. So it's now Code Engine, because it's Knative and it's serverless. It's now spinning up that container. It's going to start it in IBM Cloud. The cold start takes a while, takes 30 seconds or so. Maybe once it's running, it scales much faster. It'll flip to, I think I have to hit refresh here. We sort of see it. We'll give it a second. There, it says not started, but it's coming. I know it's almost there. I timed the other one at about 30 seconds. We'll just hit refresh. There we go. All right, so now it's loading that Node-RED flow. Remember, I showed it to you earlier, but this one now is running in IBM Cloud. And let's go see if it's going to, this one's working. Yeah, the API key. So you can see, let's go see what it does here. This is cool. Let's go launch our dashboard. Because not only, did you see it looping there? Not only did I draw the tiles for, come on, there we go. Not only did I draw the tiles for now, but I actually did the prior, back in time. And let's go hit play again. It actually plays a bunch of tiles overlay, and I split all of them together, and then I do it again a couple of seconds later for the next frame. And if you're paying attention really close, sorry, it's maybe small, but if you notice, the clouds are moving there, and the storm front is moving across the central piece. It's probably raining somewhere. Someone out there thinks it's raining. I bet you Jennifer is going to tell me it's raining where she's at. And now that was the radar map. I also have the temperature map, and I can hit play on this one. Yeah, there we go. So you can kind of see as it warms up, the Earth is rotating, it's warming. So this is fun to watch as it warms up. Someone in Canada said it was cold, and so yeah, you can sort of see the cold creeping down from the polar regions. And then someone is in Austin, nice and hot in Austin there. Cool. That's temperature, and so you can see that if I hit play again, it gets warmer as the sun rotates, Earth rotates, and the sun warms the rest of the country. I thought that was kind of clever. UV one's not as interesting though. I think the UV one's sort of boring. I was playing with all the different bitmaps here. Let's go check that one out. There's wind. And probably overloaded it. All right, so that's sort of me playing in the cloud. And I have that one posted in my Git repository as well. That one's called Node-RED TWC Weather Radar Map. I'll show you what I did with that one, because that one took advantage of the tile. So if you're interested in, I created a GIF. What you're seeing now is a GIF of that. I showed you live. I could take you live to it, but all the code is here. And I even give you the Docker container that you can go drop in your API keys. When you go, so if you go jump in here, you actually ask the weather company, remember, because this is about the weather company, this talk. And I went and grabbed from the tile server, you have to tell it which map, so the satellite radar, the UV, the feels like, et cetera, what tile you want. And then you have to learn about, this was kind of cool. So they've got a tile server set of APIs, and you have to pick your zoom level, XYZ. So zoom level 2, tile 0, tile 1, and it gives you a tile, and you pass it your API key, and you get back a bitmap. And that's what this particular API, I went over and I read the docs, and it gives me back a bitmap. And so that's, so here, and then I stitched them together with additional tiles. I call it twice. I get sort of the first tile, I think this is West Coast, and then the second tile is sort of East Coast. I kind of smash them together. I get North America, and then I put that up on a dashboard. That's what you see there. I think I could go turn that on. I don't know what's going to happen if I do that, but we could try. Yeah. Oh, was it? I think I was still set on the UV. Yeah, so not a lot of, no one's going to get cancer up in Canada today. But if you're in the tropics down in Venezuela, yeah, wear some sunscreen. All right, so that is sort of, I think, all my examples for today. I want to encourage everyone to join the challenge. Let's just go back. And, you've got 2 more weeks. That's plenty of time. All right, come up with a cool idea, form a team, 15K, a Z Fold 3, device. I just would do it for the device. Join us next week. We've got some office hours. Come ask us questions, and then we're going to come and teach you how to build your 3-minute video and a little description and your Git repository, and how to win over the judges so that you can win the prize. I'm going to leave you all with a little bit of Gene Kelly, because, singing in the rain, right? I enjoyed that. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, my handle is John Walicki, and I'm always happy to engage with developers. Come ask me questions. If you want to ask questions about the Spot Challenge itself, do jump over to, and I don't have the link here directly, I'll just drag over. We have a Slack channel where you can come and join Slack, and we've got something called the Samsung Spot Challenge. So this is the call for code workspace, and we've got a number of communities, number of channels here. So do join the Samsung Spot Challenge. Ask me questions. I'm following this particular stream here. Okay. Thanks for joining today. John Walicki. See ya, everyone.